this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, Tenten is still stuck in the infinite Tsukiyomi world of Road to Ninja. This week's episode also featured a major battle between Naruto, Kurama, and Hanzo of the Salamander. Now, this episode really surprised me because I honestly thought I was going to have to wait an extra week to see it, but after reviewing episode 427, I was told by my commenters and subscribers that there actually was a second episode today, and I went ahead and just watched it, and I'm just going to give my quick review because honestly, this was just an okay episode in my opinion. The real big negative to me about this week's episode is definitely the animation and the artwork, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later. Really, this week's episode was all about Tenten actually coming to grips with the fact that she's okay with being in this infinite Tsukiyomi world. She likes her friends, she likes interacting with them, and it actually feels like home to her. And as I predicted in episode 427, by the end of this week's episode, she would indeed succumb to the infinite Tsukiyomi and be stuck in this world. And that's exactly what happens, but there are some interesting developments in this episode. First and foremost, since this is the infinite Tsukiyomi, there's a lot of rules that the series is breaking. A lot of characters that were dead are now alive. We got to see that in the previous episodes with characters like Neji, but this week's episode also reintroduced the character of Hanzo of the Salamander, who was the original leader of the Hidden Rain Village before Pain took it over, and what's really awesome about this is that he decides to just invade Konoha Village with his entire army and his 2 giant salamanders. That's right, he can summon more than one of these things, and Naruto and Kurama actually go into their big super transformation mode and actually fight against them. It's very short-lived, and even Tenten ends up saving the day with a pot in the gourd that she summoned from the scroll. Unfortunately, this is all off-screen. Really, though, that's pretty much the whole episode right there. I'm just going to make this really quick. I just don't have that much to say about this week's episode. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Episode 428 is the end of this little Tenten filler arc, and I'm glad that they wrapped it all up in 1 week, and unfortunately it does look like that the next episode, which is going to involve the character of Killer Bee, is also going to be a 2-parter. I don't know if they're going to try and do 2 episodes next week like they did this week, but after seeing this one, I kinda hope they do, because my only real big disappointment from this episode was just the animation and the artwork was just kinda super average most of the times, and sometimes it was just laughably bad. There was this one scene where Konoha Village was being attacked by the Hidden Rain Village, and you got to see a lot of the other main characters, a lot of the side characters actually fighting against these random ninja, and there's this one scene where Kiba throws a kunai knife right at one of the Hidden Rain ninja, and the animation is so bad. Like, it's laughably bad. Like, it looks like he's not even trying. Like, he's throwing a dart at a dartboard. Like, there's, like, no tension at all, despite the fact that there's explosions and fire and giant kaiju salamanders fighting in the background. You'd think there'd be a little bit more of a sense of urgency, but I'm mostly going to chalk that up to the fact that this is the infinite Tsukiyomi world, and it is a filler episode, so they're definitely not going to get one of their better animation teams to work on this one. But what is really creepy about this episode, again, like I said in episode 427, is that all of the people in this genjutsu world are fully realized beings. They have true characters, and because of this, they're able to draw Tenten in and actually get her sucked into the infinite Tsukiyomi. And you can definitely see that at the end of the episode when her eyes start to change color and the animation changes oh so slightly. It's a really creepy moment. If there is one thing that these 2 episodes are certainly doing right, in particular this one, they're showing how powerful the infinite Tsukiyomi is, and it doesn't matter how strong-willed you are, eventually you will get trapped into the genjutsu. It will find a way to make its way into your heart and soul, and something about that is still very disturbing, because Tenten at first had free will. She realized that she wasn't in her real world, and she tried to return, but little by little you could see that the world was starting to seep into her, and by the end, she was completely trapped. So it is pretty disturbing. But like I said, just sort of an average episode, but I am glad that they wrapped up this whole Tenten thing in 1 week. Like I said, on the technical side of things, animation, artwork, just extremely average in this week's episode. A lot of disproportionate looks, and of course that one scene with Kiba throwing the kunai. I don't know why that stuck out in my mind, but while watching that, it was really funny. It was just very slow and not very fast animation, and for a show about ninjas which are fighting in a big village that's like going to war, you just expect a little more, you know, fluidity, maybe a little more urgency. But there it is. That's the end. Just like the last episode, though, I still think it was an okay episode. It was very average at best, though, so I am going to give this one a 3 out of 5. But check it out, Tenten fans. You might see something you like. This is probably going to be one of the big final moments for Tenten in the series, so at least they did focus on her character a little bit. She certainly is a fan favorite, and according to a lot of interviews that I've actually read, she's actually Kishi's favorite female character to draw, and I was kind of hoping maybe they would do something a little crazier with that, but still, I am excited for next week's episode because the preview made it look really cool because we're going to get to see a lot of what-if scenarios. It looks like we're actually going to see what happens when Killer Bee fights against Sasori of the Akatsuki, and that's going to be awesome. And what I really love about that is that he's actually bringing out his multiple swords again, so hopefully we'll get to see that really unique fighting style that he used against Sasuke, which that episode when he fought against Sasuke is still, like, in my top 5 favorite episodes of the series. Otherwise, I'm glad they're done with this filler. That's the end of it. 3 out of 5 from me. Check it out, Naruto fans. Before you guys leave today, make sure and tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, what you hope to see from the next Infinite Tsukiyomi story involving Killer Bee, and what you hope to see from the rest of the Naruto Shippuden anime series. Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, and check out our weekly podcast show, which was on break this week, and that's because we've been extremely busy, because we were working on a number of big projects. We're also going to be at Dragon Con this weekend, which is the premier sci-fi, anime, comic book, and pop culture convention in the Southeast. It will be in Atlanta, so if you are in the area, I highly recommend checking out this convention. It's going to be a lot of fun. You might see us, we might see you. It's going to be really exciting. But thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.